Hello guys, today we will discuss property plant and equipment AS10 group 1 financial accounting paper 5. Okay, AS10 property plant and equipment. Okay, so generally what is the purpose of AS? As I discussed in previous classes, accounting standard having many purpose. So some of the area is you can say accounting standard is used for recognition, correct? Accounting standard is used for valuation, recognition of particular item into the books of accounts. Valuation means what value we have to put for that particular item. For example, valuation of inventory. Okay, measurement in the sense what is the unit, what is the amount we have to put actually. Cost, whether we have to measure in cost or whether we have to measure in market value, whether we have to measure in fair value, like that. Okay, so then also revaluation, whether we have to do any revaluation for the assets. Like this, there are many purposes for accounting standard. This AS10 is basically related to fixed assets actually. This AS10 is basically belongs to fixed assets. Initially the AS10 is called accounting for fixed assets, then they changed the name into property plant and equipment. Okay, earlier the name of AS10 is fixed assets only, so now they changed it into property plant and equipment. And also the AS6 initially was depreciation. AS6 initially there is a standard called AS6 that is deals with depreciation. Okay, that AS6 is eliminated and incorporated with the AS10. AS6 is eliminated and it is incorporated along with the AS10. Okay, so AS10 is basically related to assets, accounting treatment related to assets as well as depreciation also. Okay, so what we are going to study in this AS10 actually. So under this AS10 we are going to understand how to account the assets in balance sheet, how to account the assets in balance sheet, when to account, how to account, when to account, what is assets, what is not assets. Okay, when we have what are the conditions for categorizing particular item as an assets, so like that there are many points is there, so we will understand one by one. Okay, so this AS10 is basically standard related to accounting treatment for fixed assets, accounting treatment for fixed assets. Okay, so what is accounting treatment? Accounting treatment means anything, capitalization, depreciation, additions, deletions, disposal, like that there are many aspects is there. Okay, that we will discuss one by one. Generally accounting treatment for fixed assets, that is accounting treatment for plant and property equipment, we have to refer AS10. Okay, so with this basic understanding we have to proceed further. Okay, so as I said, the scope is actually basically how to account the fixed assets. So then what is not included in AS10? What is not included in AS10? That we will understand. Okay, that we will understand first. So not included in AS10, what are the items? For example, any other assets covered under any other topic, For example, AS19, you take AS19, leases, assets taken on leases, that is covered under AS19. Hence this AS10 will not be applicable for those assets. AS10 will not be applicable for the assets covered under AS19. Okay, AS19 is not there in your syllabus, then you need not to worry about that. Okay, just that is for example I am giving. Okay, so if the particular asset is covered under any other accounting standard, accounting treatment is a guideline provided under any other accounting standard, means then AS10 is not applicable. Okay, then what else is not applicable? For biological assets, biological assets. What is biological assets? What is biological assets generally? Living stock, that is living animal or living plant. Okay, biological assets. Okay, then what is this living plant actually? What is the meaning of living plant? What is the meaning of living plant? For example, so this living plants, you can take plants cultivated to be harvested as agricultural produce. Thing is, if you take example spinach, so spinach, you can say watermelon, like this many agricultural produce which is derived from the plant, living plant. Okay, if the living plant is produced, if the living plant is cultivated for and to be harvested for the purpose of agricultural produce, means then that is a biological assets. Okay, generally from the biological assets, these biological assets will be used as an agricultural produce. Okay, this living animal example, you can take this goat, fish, all those things you consumed. Okay, so this biological asset is not covered under AS10. Biological assets is not covered under AS10. Okay, what is biological assets? It is a living animal or living plant, and then the normally the plants cultivated to be harvested as a agricultural produce. So biological assets is used for the producing agricultural product. Okay, all these things covered, not covered under AS10. Okay, biological asset is not covered, but bearer plant is covered. Bearer plant is covered under AS10. What is this bearer plant? What is this bearer plant? How it is different from biological assets? For example, you take a mango tree. What is the purpose of mango tree? What we will expect from a mango tree? We can expect mangoes, correct? So this mangoes is what actually? Agricultural produce. This mangoes is agricultural produce, correct? But this mango tree is bearer plant. Okay, you got what I am saying. So bearer plant is nothing but it is used for the production or supply of agricultural produce. It is used for the purpose of production or supply of agricultural produce. Because of this mango tree, from this mango tree is used for producing the mangoes. But mango tree will not be sold. Only mangoes is sold. Mango tree is fixed. Mangoes are variable. It is sold in the market. Mangoes only sold, not mango tree, correct? Mango tree, when they will sell? Only if there is they will make this as a scrap sale. They will make this as a scrap sale. When they will cut this mango tree, then only they will make it as a scrap sale. Otherwise, the purpose of mango tree is producing mangoes. So this bearer plant is an asset under under accounting standard 10. Hope you understood the bearer plant. So any tree which is used for the production, or supply of agricultural products, then that tree is a bearer plant. Tree is a bearer plant, but that product is an agricultural produce. So if it is a bearer plant, then that is covered under AS10. So AS10 includes bearer plant. So what is bearer plant? Generally from bearer plant is used in production or supply of agricultural produce. Okay, that is one aspect of bearer plant. And also, since we treated this as an asset, generally one of the condition for asset is it is used for more than 12 months, correct? Assets will be used for more than 12 months. Here also bearer plant is used for more than 12 months. Used for more than 12 months for the purpose of production. For the purpose of production or supply of goods. Okay. Generally tree means life will be 10, 20 years, 30 years, like that. It will vary according to the nature of tree. And also bearer plant will not be sold as an agricultural produce. Only the output from the bearer plant, that is mangoes, that mangoes only they will sell, not the mango tree they will not sell. Okay, so they don't have an intention to sell as an bearer plant. They don't sell as an agricultural produce. This bearer plant only when they will sell, no, at the time of scrapping only. At the time of they will sell it as a scrap sale. Okay, after the life of the asset, after the life of the bearer plant, that time only they will use this mango tree as a scrap sale, and they will sell it as an wood or something like that. So the purpose we have to see. Purpose is not to sell the plant. That is not to sell the tree. The purpose of the tree is generate income from the tree by selling the fruits produced from the tree. Okay, then the tree is a bearer plant. So this is bearer plant. Then what is not bearer plant? What is not bearer plant? Not bearer plant. Plant itself I am selling for agricultural produce. Plant itself I am selling. Plant cultivated to be harvested as agricultural produce. Okay, plant itself cultivated and it is sold as an agricultural produce. Then that is not a bearer plant. In bearer plant we will not sell the tree. We will keep the tree as it is. Only the fruits we will sell. But in case of other plants, we will sell a plant itself. For example, you take spinach, also one of the plant. We will sell that plant together. We will sell it. Okay. So what else? Then also annual crops. Annual crops is not a bearer plant. This rice crops, rice, corn, wheat, all these things are not a bearer plant. All these things are not a bearer, because it is sold within a year normally. Okay, correct or not? The rice, corn, wheat, all these crops and all sold within a year. So it is not a bearer plant. Very important for examination. You can expect a theory question from biological assets or bearer plant, even 1 mark also. Okay. And next thing is, first thing I said, biological asset is not covered under AS10. The next thing is wasting asset. Wasting assets not covered under AS10. Okay, wasting assets also not covered under AS10. Wasting assets means what, sir? Wasting assets means what? Extraction from the extraction. So this extraction of minerals, oil, natural gas, coals, okay, from the coal field. coal field or all those location, minerals, iron ore, all this taken from the coal field or mines. These things are not covered under AS 10. Okay, those mines or non-regenerative nature of mines or non-regenerative nature of coal field, all these things are not covered under AS 10. Okay, that is wasting asset, because it is like one time use. Once we use it, after that we will not use again that location. Correct or not? Once he extracted the gold from the gold mine, we cannot use that place again. That is an empty place. So that wasting asset is not covered under AS 10. So biological asset, wasting asset is not covered under AS 10, but bearer plant is covered under AS 10. Okay, we'll proceed further. So next question you can ask me. So PPE, that is plant property plant equipment, means what? How it is defined? It is basically a fixed asset, that is tangible assets. It's a tangible assets. What are the items, sir? Whether furniture is whether we should include furniture, whether we should include car, whether we should include plant and machinery, whether we should include land and building. What are the items included here? What are the items included in this category? Okay, you can ask me this question. So as per AS 10, normally any assets, any tangible assets held for generally, what is the purpose of holding fixed assets? Tell me. With the fixed assets, what we will do from the fixed assets? We will use fixed assets for what purpose? Majorly for production, correct? Held for production or supply of goods or services, correct? That is the purpose we use fixed assets normally. Manufacturing purpose or any other purpose. That is one of the definition. Another thing is held for rental to others. Rental to others. For example, renting the hall, renting the hotel, correct? That building is used for what purpose? They are renting to the users, people's, guests, so that they can use that location, okay, for many purpose. So like this, if the asset is used for rental, that is also covered under PPE, that is property, plant and equipment. If it is used for production or supply of goods or services, that is also covered under property, plant and equipment, okay. Or even administrative purpose. I am not using for production. I am not using for production. I am not using for direct service to my customer, but I am using for administrative purpose. For example, I am using computer in my office. That computer is an asset or not as per the AS 10? It is asset as per AS 10, because without administration I cannot do my business. Without administrative I cannot generate the revenue. Correct or not? So whatever the assets used in administrative purpose also covered under plant property equipment. Okay. And one more thing is, above assets should be used more than 12 months. Above assets should be used normally, life of the asset should be more than 12 months. Okay, that is general one. Fixed assets more than 12 months. So what is assets under AS 10? The asset is used for production or supply of goods or services, or held for renting to others, that is also an assets. And it is used for administrative purpose, that is also an assets. And all these assets should be used more than 12 months. Okay, then it is a tangible assets under the PPE. Okay, So this is one thing. Hope you understood now what all the items I can categorize as an asset. Okay, anything it's maybe directly related to production or not directly related to production, because administrative purpose is also covered. Okay, so the next question you can ask me, you said these are the assets, recognition of assets. Next thing is recognition of asset. Recognition of asset. Recognition means what? Where I am going to recognize? Into the books of accounts. In books of accounts. In books of accounts. Okay. In books of accounts, particular item I am going to recognize as an asset. When I should recognize the particular item as an asset? That is capital expenditure. No, asset is a capital expenditure. I have to capitalize this. When I should capitalize? What are the conditions? What I can expect from the assets generally? If I am investing in asset, what I will expect generally? Why I am investing in assets? What is the purpose? I should get what actually? So if I invest means I should get some benefit, right, out of the investment, correct or not? So there should be some future economic benefit. Future economic benefit will flow to the enterprises, okay, company, whatever it is. If I invest in assets, if I am spending on these assets means production purpose, all this, I should be able to get some benefit out of this asset. Future economic benefit will flow to the enterprises. I should make sure that I am going to get benefit out of these assets. That is one condition. Another condition is cost of the assets. Cost of asset measured reliably. Okay. First thing is I should be able to get benefit. You can ask me, sir, from administrative purpose, if I am using assets for administrative purpose, then how I will get benefit, sir? Indirectly we are getting benefit. Okay, because without this administration I am not able to generate the revenue. I will not able to generate the revenue directly with the help of the assets available in production. These assets available in production should be administered by some administrative department. Then only it is controlled. If there is no control, then I cannot expect the revenue. So indirectly I am able to generate revenue. So without this administrative, I cannot able to generate the revenue at all. So even administrative assets also covered indirectly here. Future economic benefit is there for administrative assets also. Okay. And one thing is cost of the asset measured should be reliably. Whatever the amount I am purchasing, that amount I should be able to measure reliably, means I should be able to arrive the amount correctly. I should not say what is the cost of the asset. I should not say it may be 10 lakh or it may be 12 lakh or it may be 13 lakh. Like that I should not say. The cost of the asset is 10 lakh. Why? How it is 10 lakh? You have a proper invoice. You have a proper invoice and everything with you. Okay. So you can show that as a proof. From there you are measuring reliably. Okay, that is the assumption. So recognition, if these two condition is there, then only the particular asset you can recognize into the books of accounts. I am treating that as an asset in my books of accounts only if these two condition is satisfied. Okay. So next question you can ask me. So recognition condition, two condition. One is future economic benefit should be there, will flow to the enterprise, and the cost should be measured reliably. Now measurement of recognition. As I said, recognition two condition is satisfied. Yes, it is an asset. Then what next? We have to put some amount. No, we have to put some amount in the books of accounts. What is this amount? Whether what amount we have to put here, whether this is cost or anything else, we have to put here. Generally cost, initial recognition. This is called what? Initial recognition. First time entering into the books of amount. What amount I have to put, sir? You have to put the cost. Okay, initially recognized, we have to recognize an asset should be measured at its cost price. Okay, then next question you can ask me, what is cost as per AS 10? What are the items we have to include under the cost? What are the items we should not include under the cost? Generally, what is the cost? For example, you are purchasing an asset. Purchase price will be the cost, correct? Purchase price will be the cost, correct? Then what else will be the cost? Taxes, non-refundable or GST point of view, you can assume input credit not available. Whatever the tax GST we paid for this asset is added with the cost of the asset, because we are not utilizing for further credit purpose. For availing set off with the liability, we are not utilizing this input credit. So that should be added with the cost of the asset. Okay, if you are taking input credit now, then you should not add with the cost of the assets. Correct? Double benefit you should not take. Then what else? Any discounts, if you receive any discount, then less that. Trade discount, for example, trade discount and rebates from the government is giving some rebate, means that also we have to reduce, because that is not our cost. We got some discount from the seller, so that should be deducted. We got some discount from the government, that should be deducted. Okay, then what else should be included? For example, transportation charges, we are incurring separately. What purpose we are incurring transportation charges? To bringing the asset into the location, to bring the asset into the location. Okay, for that purpose we are incurring some transportation cost. Normally carriage inwards, no? Carriage inward, carriage outward. Carriage inward is a transportation, assets are coming inside. Okay, some cases what will happen, for example, I am going to construct a building. Building is also an asset, correct? Building is an asset or not an asset? It is an asset, correct? So while constructing the building, what will happen? I will incur lot of cost. See, material, labor, overhead, all those things are cost, we know. Technical charge, technical fees, surveyor fees, anything related to construction, that is cost. For example, if I am constructing the building, there will be some old building already available in the land. Old building will be there in the existing land. I have to demolish this. If I demolish, I have to incur some cost. For demolish, I have to incur some cost, correct? Old building is there, I have to demolish first old building. For that I have to incur some cost. After demolishing the old building, then only I can construct the new building. So as per ASN, what they said is, if you are incurring any cost for demolishing or removing existing things, means that cost is also included in the new assets cost. That cost, this old building demolition cost, is included in the new building cost also. Got it now what I am saying? Okay, because without demolishing the old building, I cannot build the new building. So indirectly this cost is incurred for the purpose of bringing the new assets. So this old building demolition cost is also included in the new assets. For example, you can ask me, sir, I made some scrap sale, sir. I did some scrap sale. What you did scrap sale? Old building, derbies will be there, no? Derbies. It is called derbis normally. I sold it to the local market. I got some money. This income you can adjust in the cost. This income you can adjust with this cost also. Okay. So this is the logic. If you are incurring anything, demolition cost or restoration cost, that cost also should be included with the new asset, because without the restoration, without demolition or without removing, you can't bring the new asset. So whatever the cost incurred for this purpose should be added with the new asset cost. Okay. So this is cost actually. Generally this is cost. We will discuss further. So continuation of example. For example, constructing the building, you would have incurred labor, employee, other employees cost, site preparation cost. Okay. Then handling, delivery and handling cost, installation and assembly cost. Okay. Testing cost. All these things are before capitalization, before commercial production. Any other professional fees, all these things are included with the cost of the asset. So labor, employee cost, site preparation cost, this one is delivery and handling cost, this one is installation and assembly cost, testing cost, professional fees. All these cost is part of the cost of the asset. Then what not included in the cost of asset? What not included in the cost of asset? For example, training cost. I am incurring some training expenditure for training my employee to operate the asset, to operate the plant and machinery. I am giving training to my employee. So for that I incurred some expenditure. That expenditure should not be added with the cost of the asset. Okay, because that is not directly related to the asset. You are giving training means that is totally different. Okay, but asset is already completed. You are not doing anything related to asset. You are giving knowledge to operate that asset to your employee. That should not be part of the cost of the asset. And administration and general overheads. Salary paid to MD, managing director, salary paid to CFO. That the salary should not be cost of the asset, should not be part of the cost of the asset, but because that is general overhead, that is related to general administration cost. Okay. Like this, you also have marketing. Marketing cost should not be added with the cost of the asset. You are marketing your product. For that, that is totally different. That is not directly related to cost of the asset. Okay. So this is what you have to understand regarding cost. First is recognition, and the next one is cost. Initially it is accounted in cost. Then what is cost? That is what we discussed. Okay. Then you can ask me one more questions. Sir, I did not buy the asset. I am not buying the asset. I am going to construct the asset. I am going to cost of self constructed asset. I am going to construct the plant and machinery myself. I am going to incur money and I am going to construct. I did not buy the asset actually from the market. I did not buy the plant and machinery from the market. Then in this case, what is the cost of the asset? Likewise, whatever all the cost incurred directly related to asset. Directly related to asset. Okay. Whatever the cost you are incurring for the purpose of constructing the asset, which is directly related to the asset means, then you can add that. Okay. You should not add profit. because you are constructing own machinery for your own purpose, then you should not add profit for your own assets. So you should not add profit. Okay, only cost should be considered for the asset. Okay, this is what the cost, whatever you incur actually for the purpose of constructing the cost, all the cost you have to incur and categorize as an asset, but you should not add the profit margin. Okay, because that is for your own consumption. So then what? We recognized the asset, we arrived the cost also. So initially we recognize some cost, correct? Initially we put some cost. That cost is gross carrying amount. Carrying amount means what? Amount available in the balance sheet. Okay. Gross carrying amount means, gross means what? Gross net. Gross net. What is the difference? Gross means before deductions. Whatever the actual cost we incurred, whatever the actual cost we initially recognized, that is gross carrying amount. Okay. Before deduction. Then carrying amount. Carrying amount means carrying in the balance sheet. Okay, carrying in the, whatever the carrying in the balance sheet, that is carrying amount. This carrying amount is, after reduction of accumulated depreciation and also accumulated impairment of loss. I will explain you what it is. Hope all of you know what is depreciation, correct? Okay, depreciation, I will explain depreciation also, impairment of loss also. Okay, so carrying amount. Then what is depreciable amount? Depreciable amount. Depreciable amount is nothing but asset amount available for depreciation. Asset amount, total asset amount available for depreciation. That is actually cost minus scrap value. You know the formula, right? Depreciation formula. Generally cost minus scrap value divided by useful life of years. That is what depreciation, correct? So depreciable amount means the amount which is available for depreciation. So normally cost will be something, cost minus scrap value, the amount whatever comes, whatever the rest of the remaining amount, for that only we will provide depreciation. Okay, so cost minus scrap value is your depreciable amount. Okay, depreciation. What is this depreciation? Depreciation is nothing but, regularly we are using the asset, so wear and tear, we have to apportion the cost of the asset over the, we have to apportion the cost of the asset in the P&L account over the useful life of the asset in the, by way of adapting depreciation. Okay, every year we have to reduce the balance from the fixed assets and we have to transfer to P&L account. Okay, so reducing the balance from the asset account, that is depreciation. Why? Because usage, you are using the asset, so the life of asset is getting reduced. For that we have to provide something into P&L account as an expenses. Okay, so depreciation, that is depreciation. It is provided over the useful life of the asset. Then fair value. What is this fair value? If I say, if I buy these assets, if this asset is bought in the market, if this asset is bought, if I am going to buy this asset in the market, okay, market means what market? Controlled market. Controlled market means nobody is influencing the market. Only price for that product. What is the price? There is no other consideration. Okay, there is no other consideration, no other influence also. So only price is the matter there. And also willing parties in arm's length transaction. Arm's length transaction means, that is what I am saying, no other influence, only price is the matter. For this price, this product, this is the price. For this product, this is the price. I know X, I know Y, so I want discount. I have a power, I am an influenced guy, I can give you other consideration also. All these things not allowed. Fair value means what is the reasonable value we can get in the market, in a competitive market, in a competitive environment. Okay, that is fair value. Okay, as I said here, where I said carrying amount. Carrying amount means amount available after deduction. After deduction means after reducing the accumulated depreciation and also impairment loss. All of you know what is depreciation. Then what is this impairment loss? What is this impairment loss? So impairment loss, IL, impairment loss is basically AS 28. Okay, impairment loss. What it says is every year we have to test the asset. Not every year, in a frequency, in a proper frequency we have to test the asset. What test, sir? Impairment test. What test? Impairment test. This is not in your syllabus, but basics you should know. Okay, impairment means what? Weakening. Impairment means what? Weakening in the value of asset. Weakening in the value of asset. What is the meaning, sir? So for example, my asset value is 10 lakh, carrying amount is 10 lakh rupees. So in a regular frequency I have to test whether is there any weaken in the value of the asset by applying AS 28. By applying AS 28 I have to check whether is there any weakening in the value of the asset. Weakening means comparing with, I will compare with market and I will check whether in market whether it is more than 10 lakh or at least 10 lakh. Okay, for example, after applying AS 28 I got 8 lakh. How much I got it? 8 lakh I got it, because there is a weaken of 2 lakh rupees reduced in the market itself, sir. I applied AS 28, sir. Because of that I am getting only 8 lakh. This 8 lakh is called recoverable amount. This 8 lakh is called what? Recoverable amount. Carrying amount is how much? Carrying amount is 10 lakh. Recoverable amount is 8 lakh only, sir. Recoverable amount means if I sell in the market I will get only 8 lakh. That is the general meaning, you can take it. By adapting AS 28 I am getting recoverable amount. Sir, as per books it is 10 lakh, sir, but market now if I am applying AS 28 it is coming only 8 lakh, sir. So 2 lakh rupees loss for us. This is impairment loss. This is impairment loss. This we have to reduce from our carrying amount and net figure only we have to write it. Okay. So this recoverable amount how to calculate, sir? That we need not to bother now. That we need not to bother about that, because that is AS 28. Okay. So, but impairment loss meaning is this one only. We have to test the asset for is there any weakening in the value of the asset. In the asset, is there any reduction in the market? If the value of asset is dramatically reduced in the market by applying the formula. By applying the formula, if I apply AS 28 formula, you will get recoverable amount. That recoverable amount is 8 lakh. Okay. Books amount 10 lakh, but recoverable amount 8 lakh. So 2 lakh rupees loss. This 2 lakh rupees is our impairment loss. Okay. So this knowledge is enough as of now. We will proceed further. So for one more purpose, please remember only one thing. So recoverable amount, I said no. Recoverable amount under AS 28, correct? How to calculate this recoverable amount? Formula is higher of two things. Higher of two things. One is net selling price and value in use. Okay. Recoverable amount. I calculated this recoverable amount by applying higher of two things. One is net selling price and value in use. At least this you remember for one mark purpose. Okay. Higher of net selling price and value in use will give you recoverable amount. This recoverable amount should be compared with the carrying amount. So impairment loss when will come? Impairment loss when will come? Carrying amount is greater than recoverable amount. As I said, the book value is 10 lakhs, sir, but recoverable amount is only 8 lakhs, sir. So 10 lakh is greater than 8 lakh. So impairment loss how much? 2 lakh. How, sir? Current book value is 10 lakh, that is carrying amount is 10 lakh, but recoverable amount is only 8 lakh. So 2 lakhs reduced, 2 lakhs is weakened, sir. This is weakening value. This is loss, impairment loss. Okay, 10 minus 8 equal to 2 lakhs. Okay, so we will proceed further. Then what is the next thing? Residual value. What is this residual value? You know, residual value. If anything is, if we can expect after the useful life of the asset, if we sell in the market, if we get anything, got it or not? After the useful life of the asset, we used the asset fully. After the life of the asset, if we sell in market, we will get some scrap value. That is residual value. Okay. Then what? Then what is the next question? Can ask me, what is useful life? What is useful life? First thing, what is useful life? How many years asset is available for use? That is useful life. Okay, expected life of the asset is useful life. Or else, first one you can say expected life of the asset, that is useful life generally. Okay, that expected life of the asset available for use, that is useful life. Then what else? Even sometimes you can determine the life by expected production units. Expected production units. What is the meaning expected production units? I am expecting 10 lakh unit. I am expecting 10 lakh unit in 10 years. I am expecting 10 lakh unit in 10 years. So 10 lakh unit in 10 years. So one per annum normally 1 lakh, like that. Okay. So one by way of available for use, by generally life will be calculated in number of years. Sometimes in units also it is calculated. From plant and machinery, how much I can expect, sir? Total production capacity 10 lakh units. So that is my total life. Based on the usage of, based on the production, I will provide depreciation. First year I only produced 50,000 units, means for that only I will provide depreciation. Second year I produced 1.5 lakh unit, means I will provide depreciation accordingly, proportionately. Okay. So we will discuss further. So the next question is, for example, I am incurring additional expenditure. I am incurring additional expenditure on existing asset. I am incurring additional expenditure on existing asset. This is called subsequent cost. Subsequent cost. On an existing asset, already there is an asset, I am going to spend some additional cost on the existing asset. Whether should I add this additional expenditure with the existing asset or not? Existing tangible asset, I am incurring existing plant and machinery, existing land and building. I am spending some additional expenditure on existing land and building, means whether this additional expenditure should be added with the cost of the asset or not. Okay. For example, 10 lakh is the existing amount. Existing asset value. Additional expenditure. Additionally I am spending 2 lakh rupees, sir. Whether I should add 10 lakh plus 2 lakh, my revised asset value is 12 lakh. I should put or not? That is the question. This 2 lakh, whether I should add with the cost of the asset or not. That is depends on the recognition criteria. Recognition criteria. What is recognition criteria? If I want to recognize particular item expenditure as an asset, what are the conditions I have to satisfy? two things. One is future economic benefit will flow to enterprise. Future economic benefit will flow to enterprise. If I am spending this 2 lakh rupees, because of 2 lakh rupees, if I am able to generate extra revenue, you got it what I am saying? If I am able to generate extra revenue means, and also the cost measured reliably. Yes, cost we know 2 lakh rupees, but this 2 lakh, if I am spending this 2 lakh, whether will I get extra revenue or not? That is the question. For example, this is building. Assume this is building. This 2 lakh rupees also spent for building only. Okay. If I am spending this 2 lakh rupees extra means I am constructing one room. Already 4 room is there. I am constructing 1 room extra. 4 room plus 1 room. Now how many rooms? 5 room. So because of this extra 1 room, I am giving this extra 1 room for rent. So I am getting extra revenue. So future economic benefit is there or not? It is there, because 2 lakh rupees I spent extra for the purpose of constructing 1 more room in the same building. So because of this 1 more room, I am getting some additional revenue. That is future economic benefit. Yes, it is there. And whether cost is measured reliably? Yes, cost is measured reliably. What is the cost? 2 lakh rupees. Hence this 2 lakh can be added with the 10 lakh. 10 lakh plus 2 lakh, my revised cost of the asset. Revised cost of the asset 12 lakh. Okay. You can add this type of cost. Okay. But this 2 lakh is only spent for repairs and maintenance. This 2 lakh is only spent for what? Repairs and maintenance. No additional benefit. Okay, no additional future economic benefit. Then you should not capitalize. You should not add with the existing cost of the asset. Rather, it should be debited to P&L account. This 2 lakh should be debited to P&L account. Why? Because no extra revenue. Because I am using this 2 lakh for repairs and maintenance only for the purpose of what you can say, for the purpose of cleaning the building, or for the purpose of renovating the building. Just putting whitewash. For that purpose only I spend this 2 lakh, sir. Putting whitewash, if you put whitewash, will you get extra revenue? No, because there is no expansion. If you do expansion, then only you will get the extra revenue. This 1 room is like expansion. So because of expansion, you are getting extra revenue. Okay. So any type of scenario, if you are able, you have to think about recognition only. You have to think about recognition. If it is an additional expenditure, you have to think about recognition again. Recognition criteria is same, whether it is an initial expenditure or additional expenditure. Future economic benefit, cost measured reliably. If the 2 conditions is satisfied, then that expenditure you can add with the existing asset. Okay, existing cost of the asset. So as I said, initial recognition. At what actually? Measurement of initial recognition at what? Cost, correct? Okay. Then next question. Till the end of the life of the asset. We should follow the same cost. We should follow the same cost method for recognition, or we have any other option. So what they say in AS10 as per AS10 is measurement after recognition. Initially we are recognizing cost only, but measurement, once you recognize it at cost, later on management is they have given 2 choice to the management. Okay, one is cost model. Cost model means initially you recognize the cost, then every year depreciate, and remaining balance you keep it in cost. Okay, every year depreciate and remaining balance you keep it in cost. Simply cost whatever the initially booked 10 lakh rupees. SLM method I am following. Every year I am providing 1 lakh rupees depreciation. So 10 minus 1, 9 lakh. Again 9 minus 1, 8. 8 minus 1, 7. 7 minus 1, 6. 6 minus 1, 5. That is cost method. Okay. They have given two choice. This is what actually we say. I said measurement after recognition. They have given two choice. One is cost model. Another one is revaluation model. Revaluation model. I told you now. Initially I recognized for 10 lakh. Okay, initially I recognized for 10 lakh. It is my cost, and depreciation is 1 lakh. Depreciation is how much? 1 lakh. So 1 year is over. Now the amount is 9 lakh rupees. 10 lakh minus 1 lakh equal to 9 lakh. 1 year is over. So okay, first year depreciation 1 lakh rupees. So the amount is 9 lakh now. Now the question is measurement after recognition. I can continue with the cost model also. 9 becomes again 1 lakh, then 8 lakh rupees I can, then again 1 lakh, then it becomes 7 lakh. Like that every year I can provide. This is one option. Another option is revaluation method. So after this 1 year completion I can apply revaluation. Revaluation means I have to check the fair value. Fair value, as I told, no. Fair value means if I buy this product in the market, competitive market, what is the price I can get it in a controlled manner, controlled market or arm's length transaction. Okay, so I have to apply fair value for this asset. Okay, fair value, land and how can I get, where can I get this fair value? Land and building is my asset. Land and building fair value, how can I get it? From the surveyors or professionals, qualified valuer is there. From there I can get surveyors. Plant and machinery, also valuation professional peoples are available. They will give certificate. What is the value of this plant and machinery in the market? What is the fair value? Surveyor will tell. Land and building, this is the worth. Suppose land and building they are saying worth, now it becomes 12 lakh rupees. After 1 year, the land and building worth 12 lakh rupees. Here it is 9 lakh only. As per the cost model, it is 9 lakh. Here how much actually? 12 lakh rupees. Additional how much? 3 lakh rupees. So my revised asset value is 12 lakh now. Revaluation, fixed asset revaluation reserve I have to create in liability side for 3 lakh rupees. Because 3 lakh rupees I increase in asset side. Okay. So that we not to bother about much. Simply you understand revaluation model. There is two method. One is cost model, another one is revaluation model. Asset can be revalued and accordingly we have to provide the accounting treatment. Okay. So fair value, we have to arrive that fair value with the help of surveyor. In case of land and building, surveyor will be there. He will measure and he will tell you the value. Plant and machinery means there is a professional available for plant and machinery also. He will tell the worth of the plant and machinery, fair value of the plant and machinery. Okay. So next thing is depreciation. Okay. You know meaning of depreciation already. So now the question is when to provide depreciation. When to provide depreciation. Two scenario. One is asset available for use. Available for use. Another scenario, asset put to use. Scenario is I am having fixed assets in my factory but I am not using. It is available for use but I am not using. Okay. Now the question is depreciation when I should provide. When the asset is available for use or when the asset is put to use. When I have to provide depreciation. When the asset is available for use, that time itself I have to provide depreciation. Not, I should not wait only after I will put to use. Only if I use I will claim depreciation. That is not like that. When asset is available for use but you are not using also, you have to provide depreciation. That is the logic of depreciation. Okay. because wear and tear is there. Whether you are using or not, that the life of the quality of the asset will get reduced automatically. So that is the thing. So you have to think, you have to always go on available for use, for providing depreciation, okay, not for put to use. Okay, this is one point you have to keep in your mind. And also depreciation is provided normally asset wise. Okay, asset wise depreciation is provided. In case spare parts, whether it is an asset or not an asset. Asset or not an asset. Spare part is an asset or not an asset. Spare part is an asset or inventory. Spare part is an asset or inventory. We have to check if the spare part is specifically used for the purpose of asset. Okay, it is separately identified along with the asset, mean then we have to add spare part cost with asset value. And also the spare part is used for more than 1 year. It will be normal. It will not be immediately consumed. Rather, it is kept for long time. And also it is identified with the particular asset, means then that spare part we have to capitalize with the cost of the asset. Okay, but that spare part is very general spare part. For example, oil, lubricant, all those things. Okay, this type of spare parts, what I should do, this is not an asset, this is expenses. You have to make it as an expenses. It should not be added with the cost of the asset. Okay, so that you have to remember. So while providing depreciation, asset plus spare part. Spare part is specifically that is not inventory and that is used for the particular assets, means then it should be capitalized with the cost of the asset. Okay, then you can if the particular asset, for example, the particular asset, okay, one major part, for example, particular asset value is 10 lakh rupees. Okay, out of which this major part value is 8 lakh rupees. Total asset value is 10 lakh, out of which this major part you can say, instead of asset 10 lakh, you say 15 lakhs. Total asset value is 15 lakh, out of which major part, which can be identified separately, from this asset, is 8 lakh rupees. One of the major part in this asset is 8 lakh rupees. Depreciation can be provided as an overall 15 lakh rupees or 8 lakh rupees separately also. You got it on what I am saying? 8 lakh, if it is identifiable separately and the major portion is spent for what you can say, each part of an item of property, plant and equipment with the cost of that is significant relation to the total cost of the item, should be depreciated separately. Significant compared to total cost of the asset. 8 lakh is significant because it is more than 50%. Correct? ஒரு part இருக்கு, that part alone 8 lakh rupees. If that part is identifiable separately, means we have to provide depreciation separately. Okay, there is one question also in this, they asked in MTP. We will discuss that also. Okay, we will discuss further. So I am using the December 2019 MTP paper set 2 actually. December 2019 syllabus 2019 set 2. On that one question they asked actually. Question is, the company's plant and machinery total cost is 6 lakh rupees, 6,000 lakhs rupees. Okay, 6,000 lakhs rupees. It provided depreciation at 15% per annum. They are providing depreciation 15% per annum under WDV method. Okay, however, it noticed that about 1,000 lakhs worth of imported asset, which is component of above plant and machinery, acquired on 1/4/2017, would be obsolete in 2 years. Company wants to write off this asset over 2 years. Can company do so? Give comments. What is the question actually? Company is having plant and machinery worth of 6,000 lakhs. Okay, and they are providing WDV 15% per annum, and they purchased this asset only on 1/4/2017. Okay, what happened then? However, it noticed that out of this 6,000 lakh, there is one imported asset, part of the above plant and machinery, 1,000 lakh rupees. Okay, that life of that 1,000 lakh rupees asset is only 2 years. Okay, company wants to write off this asset over 2 years. Can company do so? That is the question. We will work out the answer now. Theoretical answer only we have to give actually, but we will understand the problem. So cost of the asset is 6,000 lakhs, purchased on 1/4/2017. Okay, and WDV 15% per annum. That is the depreciation method, written down value. And this 6,000 includes 1,000 lakhs. Part of the above machinery. Part of the above machinery is 1,000 lakhs. Life how much? 2 years only. Life is how much? 2 years only. Now the question is, company wants to provide depreciation for this 2 lakhs, for this 1,000 lakhs separately. That is the question actually. They want to write off this asset for 2 years itself. That is the question, whether it is allowed or not. It is allowed. That's just now we discussed. No, depreciation can be provided for the part alone, part separately, if that part value is significant. Part value is significant compared to the total value. Yes, of course, 1,000 lakhs means it is around 20%. This part worth is around 20% compared to the main value. So this 1,000 lakh we can provide depreciation. 1,000 divided by 2 equal to 500 lakhs. 500 lakhs. First year 500 lakhs. Second year 500 lakhs. Okay, we can provide depreciation, and you have to write theory also. As per AS 10, each part of an item of a property, plant and equipment that has a cost that is significant when compared to the total cost. Significant, yes, 1,000 lakh is significant when compared to the total cost of 6,000 lakhs. Okay, in this case the company wants to write off the part alone, means they are correct as per AS 10. Okay, that is the answer you have to write. It is given in the, as it is, whatever I discussed only given in the material also. You refer December 2019 MTP paper set 2. We will work out one more problem which is available in June 2017. So June 2017, it is suggested answer actually. June 2017 suggested answer, sorry, June 2017. Syllabus is 2016. Attempt is June 2017. In that problem, Alex Limited intends to set up a solar plant. Okay, Alex Limited acquired a factory. Okay, having an area of 7,500 acres. 7,500 acres factory they acquired. Cost is how much? 70,000 per acre. Okay, Alex has incurred what? Alex has incurred 50 lakhs on demolishing the old factory. 50 lakhs on demolishing the old factory building. Thereon, a sum of 43 lakh 57,500 including 5% sales tax was realized from sale of material salvaged from the site. What they are trying to say? Remember the cost of the asset. Cost of the asset only they are trying to ask here actually. They are asking us to identify cost of the asset. So they are purchasing the land worth of 7,500 crore. 1 acre land is 70,000 per acre. Apart from that, there is one old building. There is one old building available in that land. 50 lakh rupees they are spending for demolishing purpose. And rubbish, collected, demolished factory, that rubbish they are selling for how much actually? 43 lakh 57,500. Okay, which includes 5% sales tax. Then we will discuss further. So Alex Limited also incurred stamp duty and registration charges of 5% of land value. Good. They incurred some registration stamp duty, that is during the purchase. During the purchase, without this registration, without this stamp duty, they cannot buy. And also they paid legal and consultancy charges, professional fee. That is what? Professional fee. They paid 5 lakh rupees for land acquisition. Without this consultancy fees, they cannot buy this land. And incurred how much? 2 lakh and title guarantee insurance. On the property document, on that also they spend some 2 lakh rupees initial cost as an insurance. Compute the value of land. That is the question. We will value the land now. So the purchase price is how many acres? 7,500 acres into rupees 70,000 per acre, correct? 7,500 into 70,000 equal to how many lakhs? 5,250 lakhs. Okay, 5,250 lakhs. Only land cost is 5,250 lakhs plus demolishing cost. How much? Remember our discussion, without demolishing the old building you cannot construct the new building. Hence the old building demolition cost should be included with the new building. If there is any sale of rubbish, that income also should be adjusted with the new building cost. Okay, so demolishing cost how much here? Demolishing cost how much? 50 lakhs, correct? But minus revenue scrap sale, you can say scrap sale of demolition. Scrap sale of demolition how much? What is the amount actually? How much they are selling? 43.575 lakhs, correct? 43 lakh 57,500 is the sale value. Whether this 43 lakhs 57,500 is the amount we received actually. How much we received? And this 43 lakhs 57,500 is inclusive of tax which we paid to the government. 43 lakhs 57,500 which inclusive of tax which we paid to the government. What is the rate of tax? 5%. Okay, this 43 lakh 57,500 includes 5% tax also. Okay, for example 100 rupees is our sale value, 5 rupees is tax. 100 rupees is our sale value, 5 rupees is tax. So this amounts to 105. This amounts to 105. Got it on what I am saying? Okay. So then how much is 100, how much is 5? We need to know how much is 100 actually. So 43.575 divided by, this is for how much? 105. Then for 100 how much? We have to identify. Okay, inclusive of tax actually. Why we are segregating? Because 43.575 is inclusive of tax, means that the tax portion we are not going to receive, we have to pay to government. Okay, so then what is the amount? 41.5 lakhs. 41.5 lakh only we are going to receive. Balance amount we have to pay to government, that will not come to our packet. So 41.5 is my net collection. 41.5 lakhs. Demolishing cost is 50 lakh. I received 41.5 lakh. Net cost how much to me? 8.5 lakhs. Net cost how much to me? 8.5 lakhs. Then what else expenditure? What other expenditure they did? Legal fees how much? 5 lakh rupees. Legal fees how much? 5 lakh rupees. That is also cost actually. That is also cost of the, we have to include for the cost of the asset. Professional fee. Okay. Then what else? Insurance how much? 2 lakh rupees. Correct. Then registration fee at how much? 5% on what value? 5% on what value? 5% on land value. Land value alone. 5% on what value? Land value. Land value alone how much? 5250 into 5%. Land value alone how much? Only land value. 5250 into 5%. So how much will come? 262.5 lakhs. Okay. 262.5 lakhs. So add all the figures now. That is 5250 plus 8.5 plus 5 lakh plus 2 lakh plus 262.5 equal to 5528 lakhs. Okay. So with this, the accounting standards is over. Please go through all the accounting standard. Any doubts you can message me. Okay. Thank you.